How come no one is going out into the ocean and looking for USO?
It's probably to some degree logistics. It's very easy to get a lawn chair and sit in the desert. It's not so easy to go out in the ocean and go diving or explore things. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the Pacific Ranges, west of LA in the ocean. There's San Nicolas Island, San Clemente Island. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in that area, and it's not as easy to go there and look and watch and sit there and see what happens, because the military tends to move their operations to areas that are not as easily visible. Lately, actually, I'm a little reluctant to talk about that. I'm just going to say very broad terms. Mission activity of pilot training has somewhat shifted to those ranges. I will leave it up to everyone to make up their own mind why that may be.
Okay.
I've got a few ideas.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic drew their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah. What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
All Things Unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, will save for closed session.
Hello, Unexplained Ones. Hello, friends. I am your host, CJ Derringer. I've got my two buddies here with me tonight, Dr. Mounts and Smitty. Hey, fellas.
What's up, CJ?
All right, how's it going? Look, slight earthquake over at Smitty's house right now.
Good grief.
I'm sorry, I'm having all
Get
kinds
it together,
of technical
Smitty.
difficulties.
That's okay.
don't
I'm in
have
all
technical
black tonight. I look like I have a floating head in this video. Hey, I
You're the
just got
woman in
back
black.
to something really cool. I've got to give a shout out to the women in my neighborhood because I just came back from a 40th birthday party on a Wednesday night, and there were like 50 people there, all playing mahjong. Never played it. I didn't get to stay and play, but it looked really fun. And my friend Mairead can sure throw a party, and my friend Shayna can sure make a cake. Have you guys played mahjong before?
No, but I saw it on Seinfeld.
On Seinfeld? Has it been around that long?
Don't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was invented like 3,500 years ago. And I've played mahjong.
Chinese, isn't it?
Yeah, I know it really was invented like thousands of years ago. But I want in on the canasta games if they get any canasta going.
Okay. Well, I couldn't play mahjong because I'm pretty sure it takes like 22 hours to play, and I knew I had this tonight. But maybe next time. Hopefully they'll save some cake for me, though. It looked really yummy. They'll still be playing after this. I'll go get some cake then.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what would go really good with cake is some coffee, too. We've got a good sponsor for this show. This is exciting. Sasquatch Coffee Company is sponsoring this episode. If you like coffee, we have a little comment tagged pinned at the top where you can go and subscribe to All Things Unexplained, subscribe to Dreamland Resort, vote for your favorite Sasquatch coffee name, and you could be the winner.
That's right. Just comment. We got Ape Canyon Medium, Eye Shine Blend, Feeling Squatchy Medium Dark, Howl in the Night, Yeti Dark, Squatch Stomp Dark, and Sleeping Giant Decaf. Which one are you going for, CJ?
I'm going to need some explanations on those on those names. And while people are deciding, we have a very exciting episode tonight. We have Joerg Arnu back. I missed him the last time he was on. While he was here, you guys talked about some really interesting Area 51 topics. Also talked about the raid on his home. These are all things that you can go back and check out on previous episodes. If you're on YouTube, you can go to our Area 51 disinformation episode. And if you're on our podcast, it would be our July 14th episode this year. That's episode 258. Did my research.
Wow. You dug deep there, and we got people
did.
joining us from all around the world right now. Australia, hello. Marie, we got Gary here. We got Michael Kohlbecker from Frankfurt, Germany, apparently. So folks all around the world are tuning in.
Yes. Say hello. Let us know where you're from. If you have any questions for Joerg, put them in all caps. We will do our best to get them into the show. I say, let's not wait any longer. Let's head to commercial and then bring Joerg in the studio.
Let's do it. He's got some big updates on a crash near Area 51 right after these messages.
All Things Unexplained is free to watch on YouTube and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to support our show, you can visit our YouTube store. Additionally, you can find us on Venmo under All Things Unexplained. Be sure to check out our website, allthingsunexplained.com. All proceeds from the sales of Dr. Mounce's books on Amazon and Audible also go straight to our show.
Want to be a real part of the show? One of the best ways you can support us is by visiting our official store. All you have to do is head over to unexplainedswag.com. There you can pick up podcast t-shirts, podcast hoodies, coffee mugs, and lots more, including our best-selling UFO t-shirt and UAP t-shirt. Just head over to unexplainedswag.com. You can also get to the store from our main website, allthingsunexplained.com, and from wherever you're listening or watching to us at. Arriving 2026 from Schiffer Publishing. Forward by Nick Pope. Voices in the Shadows by me, Dr. Mounce.
All right. There he is, the man everybody's been waiting for. Welcome, Joerg. Welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me back on the show. I'm really excited about it.
Yes. Our pleasure. I'm so sad I missed the first one, but I did listen, and wow, you guys covered a lot of really incredible stuff. I have a little aside about your website, Dreamland Resort, but we'll get to that later. First, we want to dive into this UAV crash near Area 51. Walk us through what happened and when.
We had some real excitement around Area 51. It's not every day that something falls out of the sky and lands on public land for everybody to see and to visit. And this is exactly what happened on the 23rd of September. What I'm doing normally is I'm recording radio traffic of Area 51, security and missions and so forth. And then in the morning, I have my cup of coffee and I'm listening to what happened the night before. And that's what I did on the 23rd of September. And to my amazement, I started hearing calls locking down the base. Something happened. Nobody leaves their post. And then very soon after that, and I can actually, if you like, play some audio of that. We had this is what was said. We have an asset go down. Now, an asset go down, that's an aircraft that went down. I got to say, there was a big mission going on over Area 51 that night. One of the biggest missions I've ever seen in that area. There was so many dissimilar aircraft involved. There was UAVs involved. There was jammers involved, tankers, big electronics assets. And it was one of the biggest missions I've ever seen. And all of a sudden, that mission was called off. There was a call, knock it off is usually a call. Okay, stop what you're doing, go to your home base, or go back to the safe area. From there, they're vectored to their home base. And so something had happened. And then security started talking about, we have an asset go down. Very shortly after that, it was a UAV unmanned with ordnance. Whoa, we
Oh
had a
my.
UAV go down near Rachel with ordnance on board. Wow, I gotta see this. So I get in my truck and, of course, drive out there to Tikaboo Valley, which is right next door, so to speak, to our valley, just going over Coyote Summit, about 20 miles. And I get to a roadblock. I'm driving up this road that I've driven down many times, and all of a sudden I'm looking at two armed guards with guns, not pointed at me, but very visibly presented. And a young man, one of the security guards, came up to me, very friendly, but also very firm, said, "Sir, you're going to have to turn back. You can't go any further." Okay, no problem. I don't want any trouble here. He didn't tell me what happened. He just said, "Okay, you can't go any further." This was in the middle of the valley. So the entire southern half of the valley was completely closed off. I tried to get to a different road. There was sheriff's vehicles there. There was security there, completely blocked off the area. So that confirmed what I heard on the radio. Something happened here in our valley. And what is it? They don't tell me. So it's got to be something that they don't want us to know about. I got to find out about this. And I don't know if it might help if I can actually share my screen here and show you some pictures of what happened.
It's giving Roswell vibes.
It is almost Roswell all over again. Other than, and I got to say this, from security, it sounded very clearly was one of ours. I mean, my group, we're concerned about technology, earthly technology at Area 51, to say it that way. And it was one of those that crashed there. Let me see if I can do this. Share screen. So which screen am I sharing?
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
It will, and if you have audio, Joerg, it will help if it's Chrome.
Okay, perfect. There it is. Okay. So this is me driving, a still photo of me driving up to security. I'm driving on Mailbox Road. Those familiar to the area might know what I'm talking about. I'm driving down Mailbox Road towards Groom Lake Road, about 10 miles from the perimeter of Area 51. And I'm looking at these two security guards here. As I get close, and I don't know if the audio is going to come through and show my reaction. I'm just going to play it. We'll see what happens here.
Gosh, this looks so much like where I grew up. It's
I don't know if you heard the audio with the video. Basically, my reaction is, "Oh crap, these guys mean business. I got to turn my camera off."
Oh man.
They meant business. It was very clear that, whoa, okay, they don't want me to take any video here. Next thing I did is I drove by Groom Lake Road. And since you can't hear the audio, I'm going to mute that. This is the top of Groom Lake Road, the road into Area 51 where it meets the highway. The road to Groom Lake Road goes off to the side, to Area 51 goes off to the side here. And normally there's nothing going on here. Now you see several vehicles here blocking the road, and you can even see a helicopter sitting on the side of the road. Some media outlets portrayed it they misunderstood my story. They said it was a black military helicopter. No, it's not. It's a regular helicopter, but it's sitting there, which is extremely unusual. And it has some kind of a contraption, a basket on the side. I suppose that they wanted to bring out sensitive material from that crash site to wherever it's being evaluated. So at this point, I know, whoa, something really big went on. Next thing you know, a day later or two, what is called a temporary flight restriction, TFR, was issued for an area. This is Groom Lake Road here. This is a highway where I just in the previous video drove down on. And in this area, there's a flight restriction all of a sudden. That tells me where the crash happened, because of course the restriction is going to be right there where the crash happened. So now I know where the crash happened and what happened. Now I got to go on satellite images and try to find the crash site. And that's what I did next. Here's an image taken on September 21st. I just looked very
Oh,
closely at satellite images from that area, and you see a little hill here. And then on the 24th, after the crash, all of a sudden you see a black mark down here. Well, black mark, I know there was a fire. That, that's got to be it. So now I know where the crash is. Now I just got to be able to get to it. And a few days later, I drove by again. You can see there's still security vehicles blocking the road. So I went to a view spot a little elevated, a little further away. And here I'm looking at, again, the intersection of Groom Lake Road and panning towards the crash site. And this is the first images of the actual crash site that I caught.
oh,
You can see a new road along here, along the foothills that they put in. And you can see a vehicle here. So there's obviously traffic on that road. And then if you go, let me pan a little further around here. It just keeps on going. And they put a good 2 or 3 mile road in it.
wow.
And then finally, okay, keep on going. You can do it. And here we are. This is the crash site right here.
Oh,
This is actually the area where they had the recovery crew, big vehicles, big machinery, and so forth. They had a tent up there, and for the recovery crew to come out of the sun for a while to cool off. And the actual crash site is a little further over right here. And I'm going to show you, don't worry, I'm going to show you better images of that. Or you can, I guess you can show the video that I did of that area. So at this point, the area is still completely closed off. I can't get anywhere near, but I know, okay, here's something going on and there's something going on back here. You can sort of see there's a pickup truck sitting here with a trailer, there's a tent here, and there's something over here. And then there's something going on here. And you can actually see kind of dark colored ground. That's the crash site. That's where the fire was. So a drone crashed. They had a fire for about 4 or 5 hours. It crashed apparently with a lot of fuel. It burned for quite a while. Wow. And subsequently, on the 27th, I was able to get to the crash site and actually do a video. The first video I did, I was at the staging area that at first I thought was the crash site. And then a couple of days later, I went back and I found the actual crash site. And I think I sent you guys a link. I don't have that ready to play here, but if you have it posted in.
Is it, I made it to the recent UAV crash site near Area 51?
The second link, which says something like the real crash site or the impact site or something like that.
Locating the impact point of the recent UAV crash.
Yes. So I took a Geiger counter out there. You can see, you don't know what crashed, so it might have been radioactive. So I took a Geiger counter, and there's me running around with a Geiger counter. And you can actually see on the right-hand side there, you can see a tree, a Joshua tree that is completely burned. And that bush that I'm walking up to, that's a burned bush. And this whole area, that whole open area is the crash site. So what they did is I took my first video and I published my first video, and they had already trucked all the stuff out from the crash site. They had already trucked it all out, but they were still worried about people going out there and finding stuff. So they came back in and they bulldozed the entire area and covered it with several inches of fresh dirt to where you can't even see anything on the ground anymore. The whole area is completely covered with fresh dirt. And I took my metal detector out there, and this is all in this video. And with the metal detector, I was very quickly able to find metal pieces, fragments. If you go further through the video, you're going to see some of the stuff that I found there. This is a little piece of fiber material. I found metal, and here you can see some tracks of heavy equipment that sanitized the site. So they went through great length to cover up the site. And this is, you got to understand, they want people to believe that this was a Predator drone, a run-of-the-mill Predator drone that is really nothing out of the ordinary. I've been to other Predator drone crash sites, and there are still pieces on the ground. In one crash site, there was actually still pieces hanging in the trees. They don't care about predators. What crashed here was a lot more than a predator. So that all these things together, and I've actually subsequently visited the crash site again with somebody who knows a little bit about aircraft design, and he found evidence that this was a drone designed for high altitude. So all this together tells me what crashed here is not anything run-of-the-mill. This is something super secret. And I have security transmissions that if you can't pick up my audio from my desktop, I can't really play it. But that's basically say that we have an asset down, Area 51 security saying we have an asset down, not Creech has an Air Force, Creech Air Force Base has an asset down, but we, Area 51, have an asset down. And then shortly after the base went on lockdown, this is all in security radio traffic that I intercepted. Shortly after the base went on lockdown, there was 2 security patrols dispatched to meet with a certain major so-and-so, I'm not going to say the name, in a certain hangar at Area 51. Subsequently, these 2 patrols went out to the crash site. So it is very likely that this was security instructed on recovery procedures for this particular vehicle that crashed there. All this together, I'm 99% certain it was an aircraft out of 51, something secret that crashed during a secret mission, possibly an integration of, they have these loyal wingman type drones, AI-controlled drones that fly in connection with manned aircraft. AI does everything, and they all happily talk to each other with AI and all that good stuff. And I think that's what crashed there that day.
I would love to hear that audio.
If you are just joining us, we have Joerg Arnu on with us. He is an expert on all things Area 51. He has a website called Dreamland Resort that you can check out. Please do subscribe and follow his page as well. Last time he was here, he talked about his house being raided by the FBI. And Joerg, we want to follow up on any updates on that when we have a chance. Additionally, we do have a pinned chat at the top for our sponsor for tonight, which is the Sasquatch Coffee Company. You can go and vote for your favorite flavor and possibly win some free coffee. So be sure to do that.
Basically, what it says is, first of all, complete lockdown of the base. Nobody goes in or out, base on lockdown. Secondly, second message was actually, we have an asset down. Third message was, it's a UAV unmanned with ordnance. And then the fourth message is right after that, 2 security patrols that are normally servicing the inside of Area 51 are ordered to report to a certain hangar at the north end of Area 51 and meet with a major so-and-so. And I'm not going to say which hangar, and I'm not going to say the name of the major. But all that tells me that, okay, it was one of ours, and Major so-and-so can tell you exactly how you deal with the crash site.
How often does Area 51 go on total lockdown?
Honestly, I have never heard that. Okay. Not like this. I mean, this was like extreme urgency. Don't let anyone in or out. Those were the exact words.
Yes.
I've never heard that before. So it is very, very unusual.
With the basket being on the helicopter, do you think there was possibly some other craft where they had an actual pilot involved? Because that looked like looked like some sort of, healthcare, what they used to put people on Vietnam War and things like that.
That was my first thought. I don't know that there was any personnel involved. Also, would you really have a pilot on the outside of a helicopter exposed to the airstream? I think it's more designed to carry materials than a patient, but it could very well be. I mean, I don't have any I don't have any indication of a person being involved, but it could be. I mean, they know that I'm listening. I mean, they know that I'm listening to their security stuff. So after the first lockdown and the first, oh crap, what do we do now? They may have said, okay, let's get this crazy German, let's give him something to think about, and just said, okay, we have a drone go down, when in fact it wasn't. What I can tell you is it was a very small crash site. And I actually, when you watch the videos, I think you got them linked through your description of your stream.
Yes.
If you watch the videos, you can see that it's a very small crash site and that there is a particular spot that is maybe 10 by 10 feet. That's where the thing came down. That's where I found a lot of hits with my metal detector. That's where I found a lot of stuff buried in the ground. And also, yeah, that's another shot that I did. I don't know how the English audio came out. I did the original version in German because my friend is from Germany and he knows about aircraft. And he said, yeah, here's some insulation and this and that. And basically said, this is something that flew way high up there. So we have a crash site that there's some material that we found in that crash site. And this was after less than 2 hours of poking around with a metal detector. So there's still a lot of stuff out there. Metal, plastic, composite pieces. Yeah, and there's my friend. Basically, I don't know the English audio. There might be English subtitles to it. We did the whole thing in German. But basically he says, yeah, there's insulation that is indicative of something at high altitude. And some of the composite materials, he said, are very consistent with it being a drone. Also, the small crash site area is very indicative of it being a drone. So I think at this point, I'm calling it a drone. Could there be a person that was in a manned aircraft? Absolutely, but I don't at this point believe so.
Well, Joerg, I saw somewhere via your website, dreamlandresort.com, that there had been some people out there and they believe that they found evidence of potential tampering by the Air Force. And one of them I thought was real curious, like some sort of dummy, like a crash test dummy of some sort.
No. Okay, let's sort this out. This was a story that after my first video came out and the Air Force went back out and they were like, oh crap, we got to sanitize that site a little better. This guy knows where it's at. So they went back out there and covered it up some more. And then they came out with this story. Well, it was a drone out of Creech Air Force Base. Creech Air Force Base is south of Area 51. It is a drone base, so it would make sense. They said, okay, it was just nothing to worry about. Nobody got hurt. It was a drone, run-of-the-mill Reaper drone out of Creech Air Force Base. And by the way, while our crash site investigation team was back out at the site, they found evidence of tampering. Somebody had supposedly placed a dummy bomb, like a practice bomb, on the site and a piece of an aircraft panel. And then that article that was put out by Creech Air Force Base, by an Air Force website, this article went out to say, and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations and the FBI are investigating. What are they investigating? Somebody littering on public land? That's all it is. What's the big deal? So that didn't make any sense whatsoever. And in my opinion, the idea behind that was that they just wanted to put the fear of God in people. Don't go out there. You're going to get arrested. Bad things are going to happen to you. No, don't worry about it. I've been out there 3 times. At least 5 other YouTubers have been out there. It's all good. Go out there, take a metal detector, go start digging. You're going to find all kinds of interesting stuff. And I hope somebody will find the smoking gun, a piece with a serial number on it that we can actually track back to the type of aircraft.
Sounds like an All Things Unexplained field trip.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. There is an N there. There is a little L in there. So I've heard.
Yes, there is in Rachel.
They might have a room at the inn for us.
Is that what you were saying? I was trying to figure out your Mississippi accent there. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, That's like a little LN that tied into why Joerg was on
You were
previously with
trying to spell something.
Well, it's little ALE apostrophe
Alien.
Yeah.
INN.
I thought you were
Alien.
saying a little L and an N.
Who knows? That's probably how it came out. But
It's our little bind, Rachel.
well, Joerg, this
if you haven't been there, it's an interesting place to check out. They're all about UFO themes and all kinds of interesting things in there.
And a couple of new documentaries too.
As you know, as it pertains to the crash site here, hey, if you ever want to do an investigation out there, I'll be more than happy to work with you guys and show you around.
Oh, that would be cool.
It's I can guarantee you, if somebody spends enough time on this, there is more to be found, and we can probably find some identification. Because, you know, that thing splats on the ground at high speeds and it disintegrates. So they can't pick up all the pieces. There's always pieces left behind.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to do that, guys.
Yeah, I want to go back to Vegas.
We haven't been in the same room, CJ and I have been doing this podcast for like nearly 5 years.
That's true. Yes, we need to be in the same room. I'm much taller than you think I am, Smitty, I promise.
I thought you were like 4 foot tall.
Yeah. Some people think I'm 6'1". It's, you know, some people think I'm 5'4". Who knows? So, Joerg, I have to tell you, I was camping about 3.5 years ago and telling a few friends of mine about my podcast. And I grew up in the Antelope Valley, California. So Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Edwards Air Force Base, all out that way. So I know a lot of people in aerospace. And one of the gentlemen I was talking to worked for Northrop Grumman at the time. And as I was talking about the podcast and things we covered, he said to me, you know, you really need to go check out dreamlandresort.com. It's like, I'm not going to say that everything on there is real, but you really need to go check out dreamlandresort.com. So I spent a lot of time on your website several years ago. I will say it is dense. I mean, there is a ton of information on there. So you really have to know what you are looking for. But he was very much vouching for your accuracy and the things that you uncover. And he's worked in aerospace for 25 plus years now. So,
you know, I appreciate that. And we actually have, I have a discussion forum as part of my website. And there's people that know a little more than your average person. I'm going to leave it at that. So yeah, we have some knowledgeable people in our group, and you know, we try to leave the BS to others. We deal with the facts. I mean, I'm not, you know, I started my YouTube channel about a year ago, and it's steadily picking up speed. I'm not aiming to be a big shot. I'm not making things up to be bigger than life. Take it or leave it. That's what it is. And that's what you find on my website. And that's what you find on my YouTube channel. And if you'd like, I got things on my website with you guys. Really cool photos of Area 50 that will probably blow your mind.
Oh.
If that's anything that you would be interested in seeing, then I can.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
For sure. I definitely wanted to get into that. I know Smitty had a couple of things for you, but I wanted to ask you too, Joerg, this kind of reminds me of when the fires were out there. Okay, in this way, do you think, it certainly seems like to me like this incident has the potential for danger to the public? Do you get the sense of that? Like, does that cross your mind, or anybody there? Do they actually touch base with anybody with the town, you know, a mayor maybe, or a sheriff, or public safety official, a public service announcement? I don't know. Anything?
Nothing. When we had the fires, the fire inside the ranges in a radioactive area, I think that was right around the time we talked last time, when this fire was going on. We were completely left alone. Nobody told us anything. We had to call BLM and other resources and find out what's going on with the fire. And the same thing with this drone crash. I wouldn't even know. I don't have a number for Area 51, so who do I call? So no, nobody has said anything. There hasn't been any town meetings. There hasn't been any information. Our local Lincoln County paper has put out a little article, and they're trying, but they got things so wrong. There was definitely a lot of there was not a lot of facts in that article. They basically just regurgitated something that they read somewhere else. So no, there is no nobody makes any effort to inform us what happened. And this thing was a drone that got out of control, and it crashed on public land in an area close to Rachel. That thing could have fell on my house, or
Right.
it could have fell on anybody camping in that area. There was actually people camping about 3 miles away from the crash site that day. It could have fell on them. It could have fell on their camper. And no word, no explanation, no apology, no nothing.
Plus, with ordnance, who knows what kind of ordnance? And I feel like, your friend said he found evidence of high altitude. I feel like, mathematically speaking, the higher the altitude of something that they're testing there, the greater the range of a potential impact site if something were to go wrong. And it makes you wonder, what exactly would the radius, like, one thing, how far from structures or occupation is that site that you're at, Joerg?
Well, the crash site is about 20 plus minus 20 miles from Area 51, and maybe about 8 miles, maybe 10 from a ranch in that valley that is occupied. And there was a real danger because, like I said, I was listening to security traffic. And once they located the crash site and they were advised to secure the perimeter, patrols were told to roll up their windows because of toxic fumes. I'm assuming that wasn't said. That was the part that wasn't said out loud. But they were told to roll up their windows, to keep a certain distance from the crash site and not go anywhere near the wreckage. So yeah, there is probably something toxic, toxic chemicals, materials that were burning. I'm sure it wasn't good for people to inhale that stuff.
You know what? It doesn't surprise me though, because CJ, do you remember, it was a few years back? This was just briefly on the news. A fighter jet went missing in North Carolina.
Oh, yes.
Somewhere between here and Fayetteville. The pilot apparently ejected. The fighter jet apparently had some capability of staying in the air on its own, but of course was apparently going to come down eventually somewhere, somehow. And they didn't really put out any kind of warning. We know that the pilot made it to somebody's house, called 911, and told 911, hey, there's essentially a fighter jet on the loose in North Carolina, in the air somewhere. And you can't get the 911 tape. We don't know exactly whose house they went to. Can't talk to them. We don't know where the pilot came down at. We don't know where the plane came down at, though we do know it came down somewhere. And we don't know if it was a crash or some sort of auto landing or what. Essentially, we don't know anything, but I know that the next day I was in Greensboro and all air traffic had ceased, except there seemed to be a nonstop flow of some sort of drones in the air. And all I could speculate was that they were looking for the fighter jet on the ground somewhere. That was my speculation. I took a lot of videos of those drones, but even to this day, and that was years ago, we don't know anything about that. And I think major metropolitan areas were in the strike radius of that fighter jet.
They obviously, when things get out of control, there is no telling what's going to happen. We actually, years ago, this was before my time in Rachel, there's military exercises also outside of Area 51 going on in that same airspace from Nellis, just fighter pilot training. And they had a plane crash right in the playground in Rachel. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but it happens. And during the 70s and 80s, they were doing all kinds of work on autopilots and terrain following and things like that. And sometimes back then it didn't work very well, so things fell down. And one, like I said, crashed right in the middle of town. And it could this drone or whatever it was could have. Depending on how high it was, it could have hit any number of occupied structures in Rachel, the ranch, Area 51. There's Hyco, Alamo. There's small towns all around that it could have possibly hit. So yeah, there's always a potential for things to go wrong, and that's it. It would have been nice for someone to come out and say, "Hey, look, this is what happened, and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again."
Yeah. Instead, it's like, well, God forbid if something actually were to hit someone's home sometime. I don't know if the rest of the world would even ever know.
Well, do you remember when that airplane
completely on lockdown?
Or you remember years ago when the airplane crashed in Birmingham and hit several houses and everything?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
I actually knew a woman whose son was on that plane. He was killed in that crash. And
there's some terrible stuff. Terrible things happen. Well, Smitty, you had a couple things for and then maybe we could take a look at some of these things off his website.
First of all, I wanted to ask, what's the general consensus of the people there and where you live about UFOs? Is there a general idea that people share, or is it just kind of like here? It's kind of some people believe, some don't, a lot of doubters.
Yeah, I think it's just like in the general public. Some people believe, some people don't. You have some people in Rachel that moved there because of the mystique, Area 51 and so forth. But, like I said earlier, our group is more concerned with the military technology.
Right.
So you probably, if you go to the little alien folks, of course, there will tell you all about aliens, about UFOs. And I have to assume that they genuinely believe. If you talk to me, I'm going to tell you all about military technology and that kind of stuff. So I think it's pretty much a mirror image of the general population as far as believers and non-believers. A lot of us in Rachel are retired, and we are there because the mystery of Area 51. At the same time, we get to do our own thing. Nobody tells us where to build, what to build, how to build it, and we can just do our own thing.
Right.
So that's what, for most of us, the attraction to Rachel.
Do your own thing until the FBI busts down your door.
Yeah. That's
there is that.
I was going to ask if you could give us maybe an update on FBI activity and kind of give our viewers an idea of what we're talking about here with the FBI raid of your home.
Yeah, well, that was actually a few days ago. It was the 3rd anniversary of the raid. It's been 3 years
Happy
since
anniversary.
We have actually had a drink on the anniversary, kind of toasting.
You and the FBI?
No, my girlfriend and I. No, I can't. I would love to have a drink with them, but they won't talk to me. So, it's all joking aside, I've been trying to contact them for the last 3 years. I have not been able to even get anyone to give me the time of day. I don't know what happened to the over $20,000 worth of my stuff that they took. The thing is, they have 5 years. Basically, what they hold against me, there's some laws that they really don't want to see tested in court, so they will not really apply them. But those laws is the only thing that they are quoting against me, and the statute of limitations on those laws is 5 years. So that means that they have another 2 years to make up their mind what they want to do. Give me my stuff back or press charges. If they press charges, they're going to lose. That's a given. My attorney says, don't worry about it. We got this. But so in 2 years, technically, in less than 2 years, technically, they have to give me my stuff back. Now, in what condition it's going to be in, who knows?
Oh man.
So,
Have
I
you
mean, they have
seen
a
any?
very, pardon me?
I said, have you seen any of them lately? Have they watched you any, or you been aware of any of that?
I am not aware of any of it, but honestly, if I were them, I would be watching my videos and I would be on my website seeing what is being posted. I have no indication to believe that my communications are monitored, but honestly, I wouldn't be very surprised to learn that that is the case. Other than that, no, I have not. I haven't seen any black limos driving by my place or any of that. I wish they would. Then at least I could go out there and say, "Hey, hang on, wait a minute, I want to talk to you."
Yeah.
You know where I can get my stuff back at?
Yeah, those 5 or 6 computers that you took away from me and all that other stuff. My camera, where is that stuff?
Well, speaking of computers, Joerg, you talked about some incredible photos on your website. I've got this one page here up. I don't know if this would be a good place to look at some of them, but it says Area 51 photos. I think these were new, mostly internet exclusive, or do you want to direct me to somewhere else here?
Yeah, I think you're right in that correct spot. The top link, I can't quite, let me zoom in here a little bit.
Incredible
If
photos
you,
of Area 51.
yeah, if you want to double click on, or click on that link. Now this is, yeah, perfect. You're right there. Now, people that are not familiar with Area 51, it is tucked in a valley. You can't really see it from anywhere except from a mountaintop 26 miles away. And that's where these photos were taken from. This photo was taken from 26 miles away, showing hangars at Area 51. You can actually click on the video, on the picture and zoom in on it to enlarge the picture. This is done with a technique that is called image stacking. Basically, image stacking works in such a way, at 26 miles, you have a lot of distortion. You have heat haze and all kinds of things going on. So if you stack several images of the same object on top of each other, statistically, those impurities, imperfections, zero themselves out. And you get super sharp images. You can actually, on this picture, you can see 2 of the hangars at the north end of Area 51. And you're looking at a new open-ended hangar, and you can actually see an F-18 sitting under that canopy. This is an interesting
2 of
this
them.
photo.
Yeah,
pardon
2.
me? Go ahead.
Looks like there's 2 F-18s.
2 F-18s, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can, if you know anything about Area 51, they have F-16s. They don't have F-18s. What are they doing there? Come to think of it, and I've actually heard call signs from China Lake. Those are F-18s from the Navy's Area 51 in China Lake that have dealings with Area 51. So you got China Lake in California, north of Edwards Air Force Base. This is where the Navy does their top secret stuff, and they cooperate with Area 51. So if they really want to be left alone, they go to Area 51 and do their secret stuff there. And we were lucky enough, the photographer of these photos was lucky enough to catch these 2 guys visiting Area 51.
Wow. Look how big they are, too.
Those hangars look like they were built in the 1970s.
Yeah, those 2 hangars that you see on the left-hand side here, those were actually built in the 70s. You're absolutely correct.
Look at me and my architecture knowledge.
It's her favorite architectural time period, the 70s.
I'm looking up China Lake because I grew up near Edwards Air Force Base, and I have never heard of China Lake in my life.
What is the
really?
red
It's
thing?
up by Ridgecrest.
Okay.
Ridgecrest area, north of Edwards.
Yeah, I'm seeing that there.
It's not as well known. I'm just looking at the chat. VX9, Gary just said VX9 comes out of China Lake, and that's exactly who these guys are. VX9 is an experimental unit out of China Lake that pushes the envelope of stuff that they have and makes it better. Let's put it that way. China Lake is, people hang around Edwards. They might hang around Plant 42 in Southern California, in that area. But very few people even know about China Lake. There's some interesting stuff going on at China Lake. And there's ranges all the way into Death Valley from China Lake, where all kinds of interesting stuff happens. There's Star Wars Canyon, which is an interesting spot in China in Death Valley, where they fly a lot of stuff. It's a low-level flight area from the Star Wars Canyon. It's a very narrow canyon where they fly really hot shot through the canyon. There's all kinds of interesting stuff going on.
Plant 42 was very, very near to my home.
Okay, well then that's all the big shots are right there. That's
we would have all kinds of the B-2 bombers were all, it was not all, yeah.
Smitty had a good question about this. Joerg, Smitty was wondering what the red thing is, I think, in the middle.
It's the same color as the helicopter a while ago.
The red thing, kind of in the middle behind that canopy.
Attracted to me.
You know what? Let me just put this up here on my screen so I can zoom in a little bit. Honestly, I think it's some piece of machinery. They basically have a whole line of machinery parked behind these hangars. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick here.
It's big. But it is kind of nondescript. It's really hard to tell.
It almost looks like possibly a flatbed truck with a bed kind of tilted down, or like a vehicle hauler. But something interesting in this picture though is, so on that red thing, I can only say it's a red thing. Sorry, not anymore. Anymore. But when you look at that,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was just going to ask. Where I grew up, we had lots of sonic booms that would happen. Do you have that where you are often?
Oh, do we ever? Oh, yeah. We got some sonic booms.
Always a little
it sometimes
unnerving.
rocks the house. And
Yeah,
I always love when I have a reporter over. At one time, I had a reporter over from, I think, the New York Times or one of the big magazines. And we were sitting there and chit-chatting, and he damn near fell out of his chair when we had a sonic boom.
They're intense.
They are. And yes, we do get a lot of sonic booms. And sometimes we actually get kind of funny sounding sonic booms that sound more like a suppressed boom. They are working on technologies to make sonic booms go away or muffle them. We do hear that sometimes. So,
are these Black Hawks, I wonder, here?
Those are the so-called Ghost Hawks. Those are the security helicopters of Area 51. There's only four of these type of Black Hawk helicopters in existence. They were originally designed to guard military nuclear sites, like nuclear silos and so forth. And then they really weren't used for that purpose. So Area 51 kind of inherited 3 of them. And the 4th of them lives on the other side of the country in Virginia at an experimental Air Force base. And there's some hush-hush stuff going on around that one. So yes, these are 3 of the 4 UH-60U, I think is the correct title, in existence. Wow. And those are the guys, when you come out there and you get a little too pushy for their liking, they will come out and greet you.
That would be intimidating. Wow, look at those.
Oh yeah, that gets your attention.
Look at this.
Yeah, here you got something really interesting too. You got the part of the radar cross-section range of Area 51, where they basically measure the radar cross-section signature of aircraft. Of course, you want to be as small of a radar cross-section as possible because you want to be invisible to enemy radar. And then we got something really interesting on the left-hand side here. This tower, you can't really see it in this photo, but it's actually triangular.
Mm-hmm.
And the really interesting thing about this tower is, and it was proven in photos of this tower from different angles, this tower can rotate around its vertical axis. So it's some kind of a radar deal that just kind of follows the aircraft or does who knows what. But I mean, this is a pretty good sized structure. It's probably 50, 60, 70 feet tall. And that whole big thing can just rotate around its axis.
That's wild. We saw that last time, but it
Yeah.
wasn't as clear of an image as this one.
Yeah, these pictures are brand new. I mean, nobody has pictures like this. I mean, this is a one of a kind. You won't find anything like this anywhere else. And I can't thank the photographer Roy Euring enough for sharing them through my
Yeah,
website.
these are incredible.
Yeah, that's
He
unreal.
did a fantastic job. I mean, and image stacking, if anyone wants to get into this kind of stuff, take pictures of Area 51. Folks, look at image stacking. That is the key. That's what you want to do. And by the way, it is completely legal to go up on this
That
mountain.
tower's huge.
Yeah, that might have been an underestimate because look how much taller it is than the structures. Holy cow.
Yeah, it may actually be. I'd have to look it up on my own website. I got on my website the sizes of different buildings at Area 51. I think I got the size of it at somewhere.
Because look, this structure, I don't know if y'all can see my mouse there, but there's a structure kind of in the middle. It would be a good basketball gym. I would say it's that height. So, I mean, that's got to be what, 50 feet high, that structure?
Yep.
And look how much taller the triangular prism rotating Tower of Doom is.
Yeah. The rotating Tower of Doom.
And it's further in the back. Like it's further back than that structure, which means that it probably appears to be shorter than what it actually is.
Yeah, I have it here in my list. If that's what it is, I have it as 64 feet tall. But this is all just based on, obviously, I can't go there and take a tape measure and see how tall it is. This all goes to, measuring shadows on Google Earth, measuring photos of the base. It is over 60 feet tall. Maybe it's quite a bit taller than we originally estimated. I really.
That looks really tall there.
I mean, I may be crazy, but that looks like 200 or 300 feet tall.
That's how it looks to me too in this particular picture. But
yeah, it could be an optical illusion. But then, I mean, I see what I see in the structures in the foreground. I mean, we could have a pretty decent idea of how tall they are, but this triangular prism tower, my gosh, and interestingly, yeah, there's a shadow there. So it would be great to do some mathematics on this photo.
Yeah, I wish I could just go there and measure it out. They just won't let me in. I tried.
I don't think you have a tape measure that long.
Right. Yeah, that might be another problem. Here's another tower. Sorry. Okay, this photo. This is a brand new tower that was just built inside the base. At this point, there's no antennas yet mounted to the tower, but it looks like it's going to probably be a lot of radar dishes and microwave dishes, I should say, for communications. You got a lot of data going in and out. And there's actually a completely new data center that was built for all that AI stuff that is going on at Area 51. So you got to network that to the rest of the world. And I think that's where this tower comes in. It's going to be microwave links and stuff like that. So, people say, well, there's nothing going on at Area 51. Everything has moved. No, they build new stuff all the time and they invest in it. And you can see the Janets. There's a Janet sitting on the ramp right there.
I've heard of these Janets. Can you tell everybody what those are?
Yeah, you got about 1,500 people working at Area 51, and some of them stay on base, and most of them actually fly in and out of Vegas, in and out of Area 51 from Las Vegas every day. So there is a dedicated terminal at Las Vegas International Airport where people drive up in the morning. They get on these Janet planes. They fly to Area 51. It's about a 25-minute flight. They do their job. They fly back in the afternoon and go back to their families.
What a job.
So their daily commute involves a flight on one of these Janet flights. They can be recognized by, they are all Boeing 737s with,
Whoa.
they're all white and they have like a red stripe on the side. Tourists in Vegas, they probably see them all the time. They just don't know what they are. So if you come to Vegas and you see a plane taking off at McCarran Airport, that is white with a red stripe on the side, you're looking at people that go to work at Area 51.
Wow. This is such a great photograph. I love it. I'm sure Roy wasn't doing this, but it gives the sense that he's like poking his camera up above a hill, and just sort of peering in there.
Yeah, well,
it's a great photo.
Am I crazy? It even looks like it's got the staircase where they can get off the plane there.
Correct. Yes. They don't have landing bridges like most airports have, but they have staircases. So the people actually get off the plane, go down the stairs, get into the terminal, get the keys to their vehicles on base, and then they drive to wherever their designation is on base.
I mean, am I mistaken? A 737 holds a pretty decent amount of passengers.
Yeah, about 110, 120, 130 people.
I mean, it looked like a little commuter plane in that picture. So that's far more significant than just a little commuter plane. They're putting their whole staff on there.
It's a big plane, and they have a fleet of 6 of those, and they just go constant, nonstop, all day long between Las Vegas and Area 51. And some of them go also to a different base, Tonopah Test Range. That's kind of a little brother to Area 51. That is not quite as secret, but there's also a lot of hush-hush stuff going on. So these flights go nonstop. I have a schedule on my website. I think there's about a good dozen flights round-trip flights to Area 51 every day, and about 10 to Tonopah Test Range. So these Boeings, they just constantly go back and forth.
Wow.
So that's where our tax dollars are going.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's where they're going.
This photograph says the massive Hangar 18, home of the mysterious RATT-55 radar test bed.
Oh, the rat. Yeah, that's an interesting one. There is an aircraft known as Rat 55 by its call sign. RAT stands for radar something or other, test something or other. I forgot the exact acronym, but it's basically a radar cross-section measurement plane that can measure the radar cross-section of an aircraft in flight. It has massive domes on the front and on the back. It looks a little weird when you look at it. It's like a Boeing 737 with protrusions coming out in front of back.
Wow.
Like a big radar dome. So it can measure radar cross sections of new aircraft while they are flying, which is of course a lot more relevant than, you can measure the radar cross section of an aircraft on the ground to some degree, but if you really want to know what's going on, you got to have the aircraft in the air and measure it then. So that's where the Rat 55 comes in. It's a modified Boeing 737. And for the longest time, we have been tracking it flying over Death Valley, in and out of the ranges, but we weren't able to pinpoint where does it live. And finally, a good friend of mine from Tikaboo got video of Rat 55 landing at Area 51 and taxiing to that hangar. So we know that that's where it lives.
I have to say, these buildings are just wildly unimpressive to me, considering it's Area 51. I really was thinking we would have something a little bit more state of the art, but these are just hangars that, I've seen these types of hangars my entire life. Not a lot of updating. So this brings us to a good question. Jonathan,
Yes.
who is who is typing in our chat here, do they have undergrounds? Is there something we're not seeing?
They very well could have. I have never seen any concrete evidence for it, but there is definitely a possibility that there's something underground. This goes when you visit the perimeter of Area 51. Everything is designed to be so low key. Just another military base, nothing to see here, move on. But I guarantee you, and I can't prove it to you, but I can guarantee it to you, if you go in one of these hangars, your mind would be blown.
Yeah.
The high-tech stuff is inside. It's not what the buildings look like, but what is happening inside the buildings and possibly underground.
Yeah.
Wild.
I think that's definitely true. This says Hangar 19 is here in the middle.
Yeah, this is it used to be a pull-through hangar that they used to put ammunition on aircraft, the middle part of it. And then they built lots of extensions to it on both sides of it, in the north and in the south. And then all of a sudden in 2007, I believe, these 4 radar domes popped up next to the hangar. Now, these radar domes are indicative of UAV activity. UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, they use these radar domes for telemetry, for tracking, for data uplink, downlink. So that is a very good indication that whatever lives in this hangar now is a UAV. So maybe, who knows, maybe that thing that crashed came, and I'm just really shooting from the hip here, came out of this hangar. It was at some point used for a UAV project. That much is for certain.
Wow.
Incredible.
And if
those are amazing.
For the benefit of your viewers, if you guys really want to learn about Area 51, I have a very popular video on my YouTube channel where I'm walking you through the entire base. We're starting with the very south end of the base, with a video panning all along the base, and I'm explaining every single building as far as I know what it is. It's called something like Going for a Walk in Area 51 or Tour of Area 51. You'll find it. It's on my YouTube channel, and it's very popular. Not so much by base personnel, but by people that watch, are interested in this. I'm sure base personnel doesn't particularly like that video, but there's nothing they can do about it.
Well, that's a good reminder to ask everybody to go ahead and subscribe to both our channel here and to Joerg's channel if you have not yet. Your subscriptions, your likes, your follows, your comments all help us stay on the air and help Joerg do what he does as well. And we appreciate it so much. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button for us.
And speaking of this episode, it is brought to you in part by Sasquatch Coffee. You can check them out at squatchcoffee.com. Would this be a great time to do our Sasquatch Coffee hot take with Joerg?
Ooh, let's do it.
All right. I need to pull this banner back up, and
while you're doing that, we've got Jen. Gen X is curious about everything. Oh, that's cute. She says, hello from Utica, New York, I think. Hope you can see the Northern Lights. Jen, are you seeing the Northern Lights right now? That's what I want to know. I haven't looked outside yet.
Yeah, I need to go out and try to see them. I think I might drive down to the lake and check them out. And Joerg, tonight we have a Sasquatch Coffee hot take for you, because if you're out looking for the truth, you're going to need some coffee. And here's our hot take, Joerg, from Sasquatch Coffee. Check them out at squatchcoffee.com. Joerg, the truth about Area 51 is blank.
So you want me to fill in the blank?
Fill in the blank.
The truth about Area 51 is very mysterious. How about that?
Okay.
Very mysterious.
This is like one of my history tests I give.
This is like what?
One of my history tests I give. Just fill in the blank.
Well, that was such a good answer. I think we got time for one more, or maybe a couple more. What's one thing about Area 51, Joerg, most people get wrong?
I think they come at Area 51 with a preconceived notion of what they think they will find instead of going at it with an open mind. I always say Area 51 is like a magic mirror. People look inside and they see what they want to see. I wish people would study a little more about Area 51. I'm again, and I know your mileage may vary, but I'm a tech guy. For me, the technology at Area 51 is a fascination. The cool stuff they're doing there. So to me, that's what people want to be watching for. If you go out there, you might see some really cool stuff out there, but it's probably ours.
Yep. I'm with you. I think if we just go out in our neighborhoods, then we see a lot of cool stuff if we just look up at the sky and pay attention. Matter of fact, I saw something amazing, CJ, in your neighborhood. It was at our daddy-daughter little Y Guides meeting recently, and it was about the time of night that they say the LEOs are going over. But this LEO, and I showed everybody else around there, it just started zigzagging, and then it just disappeared. And it was a very high altitude, and that was just right over the neighborhood. What it was, who knows? But it was super cool to look at. Speaking of before we moved on to our conclusion, I really wanted to ask you, do you have any insight about this drone situation? You know, this seems like it's right up your alley, the technology, national security, top secret stuff flying around. I mean, we've got Belgium. I know you have contacts overseas, or we've got airports closing in Belgium. I actually think this is a very serious situation because I did some research and because I knew, what does it take to close an airport? It cannot just be a simple process of somebody on the tarmac misidentified a plane and then boom, they shut the airport down. I knew that had to be a falsity. So I actually discovered quite a complex protocol for what it takes to shut an airport down in Belgium, for example. And it's quite a complex flowchart that they must go through before that even happens. Do you have a take on the drone situations or any insight?
Yeah, I think it's a very serious situation. I mean, like I said, to shut down an airport, you don't do that lightly. There has to be a very good reason. So the people that make that decision would have to be seriously concerned about the safety. And if they are concerned about the safety, they know a lot more than we do. I'm concerned about the safety. So I think that is a very concerning situation. Some of it in Europe, especially in the Baltic nations and in those areas, you're looking at probably Russia flexing its muscles and testing the waters. But this is all over Europe, and I can't see how, for instance, Russia would get their drones over German territory unseen. So what is that? I don't know. I mean, that is, to some degree, you always have, okay, somebody sees something, it's in the media, then everybody sees something, everybody sees the same thing. People look up, they see stars, oh, it's a drone. But there's too much of that to be, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but there's too much of that to be mass hysteria. There is something real to it. And honestly, I don't know any more than you do about what it could be. I think it's ours. What it could be, and here I'm speculating. I want to really preface it with I'm speculating. In some cases, if the military wants to know how good is a new weapon, they try it on unsuspecting guinea pigs. So if they have something new that they want to see how well it works and how do people respond to it, well, what better than fly it over an airport, over a military base, and see what happens? What do people do? How do they respond to it? How do they counteract it? So it could very well be military technology that is tried out on unsuspecting civilian or military personnel. It could also be, in some cases at least, misidentified consumer drones at night especially, it's very hard to say how far it is away. How big is it really? Is it really as big as you think, or is it much closer to you and you just overestimate the size? But there's something going on, and no, I don't want to get into this whole subject of the Navy videos, the TikTok, and so forth. That would be a whole show in itself that we could talk about for hours and hours about my theory. Again, it has to do with, I believe, the military, top secret branches of the military are experimenting with stuff using unsuspecting other lower security military personnel as guinea pigs. I think that's a lot of what's going on here.
And that might explain why we have so many lawmakers curiously looking into the UAP topic.
They don't know
exactly what you just said.
They are not being told either. So they genuinely think there's something going on, and there may be something going on. I don't want to rain on everybody's parade here and say there's nothing going on, but a lot of it, I think, is the military trying out things and see how people react to it. Do they even see it? Can the radar pick it up? How do people respond? Procedures that we have working, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's one way to test it, right?
And one thing I know about lawmakers, they don't like things they don't know about. They want to know.
Hey, we have a few really great listener questions. People have been typing in all kinds of things here. Do we have a time for just a couple?
I do.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So this one is from Gen X. Joerg, what are your thoughts on the Phoenix Lights? We've had two people now mention the Phoenix Lights, so I wanted to get this in here. Could it have been from an experimental plane?
It could have been. I have seen something very similar many times in the area around Rachel. When the military does experiments or does missions at night that involve dogfights in the air, aircraft chasing other aircrafts, they sometimes employ what they call flares. They are very hot burning flares that they pop off the plane to divert heat-seeking missiles from chasing planes. So the guy that is chasing the guy in front of him fires off a heat-seeking missile, and the guy in front of him doesn't want his hot exhaust to be hit. So he pops these flares so that the heat-seeking missile locks onto the flare instead. And when you see them in the sky, they look like I've had a sighting in my very early on in my very early days camping in that area around Rachel, where I'm seeing this big semicircle of orange-colored lights in the sky, and I'm looking at it. Oh crap! It's all true. They're coming to get me, the mothership. Until I realize, hey, no, it's just flares, and they deploy them in an evasive pattern, which basically means they're flying a turn to get rid of the guy on their tail. Pop these flares, and you got all these lights in a semicircle in the sky. I have seen video of the Phoenix Lights that look very similar to flares, but then I've also seen other video footage that I have absolutely no clue what I'm looking at. That really gives me reason to pause. So I think there was two things going on. You had military activity in the what is a military range called down south of Phoenix, Pintwater Range or something like that, Duckwater Range, I think. It is a known military area, and there was probably activity going on down there, and a lot of people were looking at that, and that was what was in the news. But the real story was what people saw flying over. For that, I have no explanation whatsoever, because that exercise was not over Phoenix. Obviously, you don't do a military exercise right over a populated area. So some of it, military activity, some of it, I wish I knew.
Except Rachel, they'll do military exercises over Rachel.
Oh yeah, well, we're only about 35 people on a good day. So.
We'll just test all kinds of stuff over Rachel. CJ, Smitty, do y'all know who? Well, there was a pilot that called in the Phoenix Lights, and that was 1997. And guess who the pilot was?
It wasn't
as it
Francis
turns out.
Gary Powers, was it?
No, it was actor Kurt Russell.
Oh, okay.
Kurt Russell came
Wow.
out and admitted in 2017 that he was flying his private plane. He was actually apparently transporting his son somewhere, flying his son Oliver to Arizona for an airport approach, and Russell reported the Phoenix lights to air traffic control, and they who claimed apparently they could not detect them on radar. So it was Kurt Russell.
Wow.
Wow.
I did not know
Pretty
that.
nice.
All right, let's see if we've got another question here. This is from Jonathan. Jonathan's been sending some good comments and questions here. How come no one is going out into the ocean and looking for USO?
Well, it's probably to some degree logistics. It's very easy to get a lawn chair and sit in the desert. It's not so easy to go out in the ocean and go diving or explore things. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the Pacific ranges, west of LA in the ocean. There's St. Nicholas Island, San Clemente Island. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in that area, and people, pure logistics. It's not as easy to go there and look and watch and sit there and see what happens. It would probably be very interesting to do just that, because the military tends to move their operations to areas that are not as easily visible. And lately, actually, I'm a little reluctant to talk about that. I'm just going to say in very broad terms, mission activity of pilot training has somewhat shifted to those ranges. I will leave it up to everyone to make up their own mind why that may be.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a few ideas. CJ, this brings to mind, we've been lucky enough to have astrophysicist Kevin Knuth on several times on this podcast.
Yes.
And one of the most profound things he told us, this has always stuck with me. And this is for any listeners, maybe you didn't see that episode with Kevin Knuth. He said, you know what? People talk about UFOs, UAP being from the far reaches of the universe, but all the evidence suggests they're just here. They're just here. Smitty, you might want to hit the mute. They're just here already. And he said he's part of this organization called UAPX, and they've briefed Arrow, and he said, according to him, every 3-letter organization. And the one question they all asked UAPX was, what are your capabilities for detecting UAP underwater? They all wanted to know that. And so I'll just do what Joerg did and say, you can think about that.
So I think the answer is people are looking for them.
Yeah.
They are looking for USOs.
Or they're trying to figure out how to.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh boy. All right. There's questions in here about Bob Lazar, but I know that we covered that on our last episode. So go back to our last episode and you can get his thoughts on Bob Lazar. Anything else that we didn't cover yet, Tim and Smitty?
Nothing I know of.
I think it's a great episode, and we've already got the next one planned with Joerg on his theories on the Tic Tac and more.
Yes, absolutely. This is everybody's reminder. We are giving away coffee, and goodness, am I going to need coffee in the morning. So this is from Sasquatch Coffee Company. We have a comment pinned at the top of this chat. In order to win, all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and to Joerg's channel and comment with your favorite roast name. And I assure you there is no shortage of good names for these coffees. They are wild. So please go and do that. You could be the lucky winner of some free coffee. If you don't love coffee, I just don't know. I don't know how you survive without it. So go do that. All right. Real quick, before we leave, Joerg, give us one final key takeaway on this event that happened out near you.
It's secrecy. It's always the secrecy and how well they do it. They have it down for 70 years now to keep Area 51 secure and to not let anyone peek inside. And what they don't want you to see, you are not going to see. As simple as that.
Absolutely. Yes. And where can everybody follow your work if they want to go check out more of what you do? Where should they go?
Yeah, they can go to my website, thankyouDreamlandResort.com. Or if you also on that website, you find a link to my Facebook page and also to my YouTube channel. The channel is really growing. I got a lot of momentum going, and I'm seeing a lot of names in the chat that apparently are coming from my channel that look very familiar, like Gen X is curious about everything, and a lot of other names that I'm seeing come from my channel. So my channel is really growing. Go to YouTube. It's youtube.com/@dreamland-resort, or just go to my dreamlandresort.com website and click on the YouTube link. I guarantee you will find more information on Area 51 than you ever wanted to know.
Wonderful.
It's dreamlandresort.com and Dreamland YouTube /@dreamland-resort.
Okay.
All the links are also on my website, and hopefully, if it would be great if you could put them in the description. That's it. Perfect.
Okay, wonderful.
So if you're curious about Area 51, come to my website, come to my YouTube link, and contact me. I'm always ready to give advice. I enjoy this. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing it because I enjoy what I'm doing, and I hope the boss upstairs will let me do this for a long time to come.
We hope so too. And a big thank you to your followers who joined us tonight. We are so happy to have had you with us and to meet you as well. Tim, we've got a few things coming up, some new episodes in the next few weeks. You want to share those with our viewers?
Oh yeah, we do. We continue to work on a long-term missing person case who actually went missing in California, CJ, in the 90s. CJ and I are set to be a guest on the Sci-Fi show with Artisan Tony on November 19th. Sci-Fi, people I find interesting. Tony has a big YouTube channel and he's a friend of the show. I am pretty excited. I'm set to be the special guest in the Cryptid Women's Society VIP show on December 10th. Hey, I don't know what to tell you.
Cryptid Women's Society? They chose you from our show? Come on, girl.
Like you do kind of look like a cryptid mouse.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, except it's going to be in the members only VIP lounge. So December 10th. I could tell if you want to jump in there with them, and who knows? I don't know. Smitty, you might. I'll just pass on about CJ. And then you might have noticed our little video I played. You know what? I'll just put it back up to here real quick because it's only like 13 seconds long. Nobody commented on it. Arriving 2026 from Schiffer Publishing. Forward by Nick Pope. Voices in the Shadows by me, Dr. Mounts. So
like
early,
a quick glimpse into your brain right there.
That was a quick glimpse into my brain and this podcast. And in early 2026, Voices in the Shadows will be out with Schiffer Publishing. And the foreword was written by Nick Pope, the afterword by Dan Warren. And Joerg, you might appreciate this. A major part of this book is my digging into, no pun intended, a very mysterious underground base here in Chatham County, North Carolina, where CJ and I live at. And I've discovered some very interesting things, to say the least. So that's going to be out in early 2026, I hope.
I'll be curious to check that out.
Thanks, Joerg. And yeah, that's everything we've got coming up. Quite a bit, actually. And then Christmas, and then a new year.
Whew, flying by. All right, Dr. Mounds, give us your final thoughts.
Well, I want to thank Joerg for joining us tonight from dreamlandresort.com. Fascinating as always. I grew up being fascinated by Area 51, and I think Joerg just hit the nail on the head when he said, you know what, hey, let's get out there and pay attention. We can all watch the skies, and you might see some amazing things. It might be our technology. It might be something else. Who knows? But it's worth it to get out there and be a part of what's out there in nature. Be a part of the sky, whoever you go out there with. Go out there and watch, even if you're in your neighborhood. I'm serious. Go out there, just look up, pay attention, and enjoy it. There's some amazing things up there.
Absolutely. All right, Smitty, send us on out.
Well, I also want to give an update. My new book, Mississippi Axe Murders, Tragedy in Water Valley, will be available February the 10th, 2026 on all your major retail sites, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, thehistorypress.com. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have a book.
Sounds like a light read, Smitty.
Yeah, it's a nonfiction book about true crime in Mississippi. So.
I mean, you already got a Lifetime Christmas movie deal?
No, I wish. I don't think this is lifetime appropriate. So, but you can also buy my other book, Mississippi Bear Hunter, on those sites too. So we appreciate our guests and our listeners for being here. And it's so good to see you. And I hope everybody has a good holiday season. We hope to see you before Christmas, of course. And I hope you're happy and be strange and listen to All Things Unexplained. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, CJ. Thanks, Joerg. Thanks, Smitty.
Thank you.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic drew their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah. What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
All Things Unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, we'll save for closed session.